Today's topic is all about analytics, specifically Google Analytics. I know that as a creative, numbers is something sometimes you try to steer clear of, but what if there was a really simple way that you could get all of the information that you wanted on autopilot? There is, it's called Google Analytics, and we're talking about it today, the importance of it, how you can use it to save money, how you can use it to make money in your business, and it's not as scary as you think it is. So let's dive into the episode with Ange Quinn. Hey friend, welcome to the Badass is the New Black podcast, where our motto is done is better than perfect. I'm Chrissy Chin, here on a mission to help you grow your business online, turn your leads into lifelong customers, and scale to six figures and beyond so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more. Most importantly, I'm a laid-back wife, a mom, a friend who started as a peds nurse, turned network marketer, and now a serial entrepreneur. This podcast is for ambitious people with an idea, a vision, but no idea how to get there. On this podcast, I'll give actionable steps to keep you moving forward while you learn new business strategies, better systems and processes, marketing, sales, all the things you need to build and scale a blissful business that keeps your pocketbooks growing. Grab a beverage, open up your notes app, and let's get to it. I'm excited to have Ange Quinn on the podcast. She's got a solid foundation of over 15 years in operations management within the corporate world. Now, Ange has sharpened her skills in by leading multi-million dollar businesses towards operational success. So she has taken that knowledge that she's gained and now helps companies streamline their processes, boost productivity, and scale effectively in today's competitive business landscape. She brings a mix of strategic vision and practical execution to the table. Whether it's developing efficient systems, building high performance teams, or implementing cutting edge technologies, her mission is to evaluate businesses' operations to unparalleled levels of success. And is our featured expert for March, our Access the Expert series, where we bring in experts to dive deep into a topic and teach you how to improve your skills. And so Ange is going to be talking about Google Analytics and diving into Google Analytics. This training will be free to attend live, so you can use the link below or in the show notes, or go to kncreative.com/access the experts to save your seat. And I'm so excited that you're here and to have this conversation about data and about analytics and about Google Analytics and why we should be thinking of Google Analytics. So I want to let you just dive in and just share a little bit of how you came up with and kind of discovered the importance of analytics for businesses.
Absolutely. So I'm an operations expert. I was in a corporate role in a previous life for 15 years. I did project management, I did business analysts, like I did a lot of behind the scenes operational roles. And when I came into the online world in 2016, I started out being like, I'm not an expert at anything, but I know a lot of things about the back end of business, which turns out that is an expertise.
Yes.
So when I came into the online world, I was, helping people with their launches, helping people like project manage their launches, run their business, run their team, manage things on the back end. And one thing I did for every single client was I really started looking into the data, like where are these people coming, especially for launches? Like if you guys are like launching products or launching courses, anything like that, there's so much out there. Like people will say, tag your audience in a certain way so you know where they're coming, but there's so much you can do, right? Like you can tag them based on an opt-in that they come to. But unless you have, and I've seen this be done, like unless you have an opt-in for every different platform, like an opt-in for Instagram, an opt-in for organic, or opt-in for Facebook ads, etc., you really can't get that granular of detail on the inside of your email service provider, right? So what I ended up doing was like learning more about Google Analytics. Sorry, it's super nerdy. But it's true. Like it just gives you so much more information. So for example, I was a director of operations for a client for a couple of years. And I came in during a launch, and the first thing I looked at was all of her Google Analytics. And she had hired a team to run her Instagram, like grow her following, grow her everything, engagement, everything. And she was spending like 2,200 US a month for somebody to do this. And so she was launching her course, multi six figure course. And when I looked at the data, there was like 8 people who even clicked over to her sales page from Instagram. And I could see that. Like you can literally see this information. So what I see a lot of people do is they like take some great marketing advice that worked for somebody else
Mm.
and then they apply it to their own business, but they're also doing all these things. So they can't truly decipher which one of them is bringing in that revenue.
Mhm.
One might be bringing you a ton of leads. So you're like, oh, I grew like a ton of emails on my list. And then I got more sales, but then it's like actually those sales came from people who were on your list for a year, right?
Right.
And so like that's the kind of stuff that I look at. It's like what drove money? Like
Yeah.
that's neat that you gave a lot of free things away, but this is a business and you want to when and you're launching something to grow your revenue. So what are the marketing efforts and strategies that are working to bring your business more money? So I started kind of doing Google Analytics and Looker Studio dashboards on the side for the past 3 or 4 years now. And, I've worked with people even in like 8-figure businesses who didn't have things set up properly, who weren't looking at their numbers, who relied on ads. And yes, ads brings in a lot, but like like you have a ton of organic traffic. What can we do here? And I know like Chrissy, like your audience is interested in like automations and what can we do on the funnel end and how can we nurture people to buy our product. And so yes, there's those little conversion rates from the landing page to the thank you page, etc., that you can look at, but you can even dive deeper and say not just the conversion rates of that page,
Mhm.
but you can say like what's the conversion rate of my Facebook audience
Yeah.
to that page,
Yeah.
what's the conversion rate of my organic traffic to that page? And you can literally see the difference between those audiences. And then you can be like oh, let's do more of that one because that one
Yes.
converted higher.
Yes.
So
Okay. So y'all, I'm going to call myself out here. And like, you're like, oh, those 8-figure earners. So we haven't hit 8 figures yet, but like generated multi-millions in revenue. And I am one of those people that is like, literally just hooked up my Google Analytics this year because whatever I was doing was working and generating revenue and, the businesses. And so it was like, I wasn't thinking about it. And then as I'm like, I do things with intention and strategy. And so it's like, okay, we've got the podcast and we put the podcast on the blog. And should I do Instagram and be on Facebook? And so this is where I was really like, you know what? I really need to know, where are the people coming from? Like, I can't do everything. And yeah, we can repurpose and whatnot, but it still takes time and energy. So is it valuable for me to just keep doing the podcast, or is it more valuable for me to create YouTube videos or to be creating Instagram reels? And yes, there
that
can be a combination of some, but it was sort of like in my mind, I'm like, how can I tell where people are coming from? How do I know? Please send me something. And I was like, oh, Google Analytics. And I was like, okay, I'm an idiot. Like, apparently there's this thing out there called Google that literally tracks everything and will tell you as a business owner where your people are coming from. So instantly I was like, okay, I got to set this up. And then you better believe I made a little YouTube video. I'm like, all right, people, I just learned about this new thing, Google Analytics, no, to teach you how to set it up, because it's important to set up ASAP, even if you're like not there to like track the numbers or look at them yet because you don't know. Which was why I'm excited to we'll put a little plug in here for our Access the Experts to bring you in as our expert on March 13th for our Access the Experts feature, where we bring in experts and they deep dive into a topic, and they literally, like, you want to be on screen, you want to be seeing the screen, not just listening, because she's going to show you where
Mhm.
to find the data, how to find the data, how to make it look organized and in a way that you can actually comprehend, especially if you're not a numbers person and you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to look at numbers all day. That is not why I started my health coaching business, right? To like be analyzing data. So there is a need, like you said, like we're making decisions based off of what? It's either off of your intuition, if you listen to the podcast episode with Sierra Rubin that we recently did, and that's one way. And then the other way is based off of your data and your analytics. And you really should use both. And the
Mhm.
data and the analytics is so important. So, I'm I just want to like stress that if you've been building your business without this, don't worry, don't feel bad, but you can start now and gather a lot of information. So what would you say is, like in terms of in your Google Analytics, we'll cover this more in the Access the Experts, but just like 2 or 3 things that you recommend every person be taking a look at on the regular basis?
Yeah. So, first I'll just say, like, I'll stress, go watch Chrissy's video and link it in the show notes to this because it is very like it's scary if you're a creative and tech and numbers scare you, but like it's like follow these steps and get it hooked up to your website. Is like you can have Google Analytics hooked up to your website and do nothing with the data for a year, but then I can come in and I can clean it up, or I can show you how to do this, or we can put a template onto there that it'll like give you the information that you need, not a problem. But Google Analytics doesn't work backwards. So if you
Mhm.
wait and you don't set it up until the end of March, June, whatever, like that's when your data starts to gather information. And there's a couple things that, so recently Google Analytics kind of changed. It used to be called Universal Analytics, and now it's GA4, if you hear that at all. Um, Basically, the old Universal Analytics couldn't keep up with all the dynamic changes, like the privacy laws, the European laws, like just kind of everything out there that people get sticky about. GA4 does a better job for like scrubbing information, et cetera. So they're more compliant than Universal
Right.
Analytics. But in the process of them updating it, they were like, hey, a lot of people wanted this information. So there are different nuances that I'm going to teach you in the Access the Expert training. Plug, come join.
Shameless plug.
That, yeah, like same thing. Like there's a couple things that if you set up, you can set up like audiences in your Google Analytics so that it starts capturing like, okay, did they originally come from a Google search? Right. And you see this when you're analyzing people on your email list. You're like, oh, this person's been on my email list for a year. They read everything before they bought my course. But where did they come from initially? Like if I didn't have the right tag or if they just came in from a general opt-in. So there's things again in Google Analytics that if you set up, you can capture them. And so as you go, that data builds. And so like, I've set one up for clients like for gender, for age, for demographic, for geography. So you can really see, I mean, not everybody's going to go into that kind of details, but her information was like, okay, people in this age category really buys. So we could start to see that data come in and be like, oh yeah, like they're like the heavy buyers are this age category. So if you're marketing, especially with ads, that feeds into that and you're going to get that lower cost per click or lower cost
Mhm.
per lead, right? Um, so that I'll show you. But in terms of Google Analytics of what you can do just on your own, like honestly, just have it connected to your website. Um, the other thing that's important to understand is if you have multiple websites, like say you have your web page on WordPress, but then you have ClickFunnels for your funnel, and then you have ThriveCart for your checkout. Like all of those are going to need a tag, like a Google tag. Like they're if you just put it on one website and not the others, it's not going to read that. So it's going to look like they came to your
Mhm.
website, they went into your they left because they went to your funnel, but that
Right.
doesn't have your Google Analytics. and then they came back. And so then it's going to show that ClickFunnels sent your traffic to your webpage. I know this is getting like nerdy and probably
Yeah,
weird.
well, and I would say a lot of our listeners are using a one-stop shop platform. They're using Kajabi
Perfect.
or something like
The
Attractwell or
best thing, yeah, and Kajabi, right? Like you guys are using Kajabi or
Attractwell is another
yeah,
one for
Attractwell,
getaway
that's what it
link.
was.
Yep.
So in those ones, it's even easier because you don't have to use code. You go into the third-party settings and you just put like your Google Analytics like ID, and that's all you do. And it's
Yeah.
amazing. And then it just like populates it to your whole, all of your pages. So you don't have to like integrate like every single page with your Google Analytics. That was over your head, but the gist of it is like just get it set up and I'll show you what to do with it after.
Yeah, so I'll link in the description and in the show notes the YouTube videos that I created to show you exactly whether you're using Kajabi, Attractwell, or Getwilling. I have videos for all three of those. And you can, follow those. But overall, the data and the analytics that you can gather from Google and GA4 are to help you save money, to help you make money at the end of the day, right? Because that's like you mentioned before, the example of Facebook being able to know that, oh gosh, the ages between 40 and 55 are who actually are the buyers. Then you can run ads to 40 to 55-year-olds and save money by converting better on those ads, or to make more money. Oh gosh, my people are coming in from tons of people are coming in from Instagram. So instead of like spreading myself too thin, I'm going to double down over there because that's where people are coming from. So it just gives you insight into your business that allows you to make powerful decisions as a business owner. And again, I know like you started your business because you were passionate about helping people and teaching them about wellness or how to build a business or how to write in journals, but as a business owner, you have to be looking at these pieces or you're going to be struggling to generate income because you're not going to know where people are coming from or how they're converting to make decisions. So I just want to like reiterate that this is going to help you save money and it's going to help you make money. So spend the 5 minutes after this episode to set up your Google Analytics. Join us in the Access the Experts, where Ange is going to dive deeper into this topic and really show you more about how to find these analytics, what to track, and how to take them deeper. What are some of the other like things that you've experienced in terms of Google Analytics, or maybe how they've helped some businesses generate more income?
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, if any of your audience has like more content on their site, especially like blogs, especially old blogs, again, this like not only does Google Analytics show you where people come from, it also shows you where people are going to. So if you have different pages on your site, especially like in the content realm, it will show you how many people are going to those pages for that information. So this tells you two things. Tells you more than that, but maybe two things, what they're interested in, right? So if you have, you have your different content pillars, you're talking on these different 5 points, and like these two are getting like big time traffic, people are reading those, then that kind of tells you like to feed that algorithm, to feed that organic SEO, is to provide more content on those topics. What else can you write about and like link back to so that people are still on your page reading more? They want more of that.
Mm.
Like when you're thinking about like, oh, what is my audience? Like what resonates with them? Like same with like in Instagram, if you have like a page like link in bio and then you have a page with different links, you can see which ones clicked on more. Okay, so
Mm.
my Instagram people are really going to this. They're really interested in this freebie. So it's going to show you where they're going, not just where they're coming from.
Mm.
And then on top of that, going back to launches, so what I did with all my past clients is I would look at their big traffic pages. And so during a launch, we would have like a banner or a pop-up or something on that page, because I can see that like, okay, they're going through a launch, there's a funnel in place, there's ads going to this. All the while, there's all this organic traffic, like Googling how to do this, and they're going to all these old blog posts and pages, and if you don't hit like the main homepage in your journey, you're not even going to see that like something's for
Mm,
sale right now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll put certain pieces of information on those high traffic pages to then be like, hey, by the way, like we have a sale right now, or hey, by the way, like join this webinar and learn about this. Like you might not know it, and you get way more organic traffic that way too, which is free, right? That's
Yes.
for you.
Okay, so I'm loving these two tips. Like, A, if you're posting polls on social media, like trying to get content ideas and you're getting crickets because some people don't want to engage. They're the lurkers, right? They just want to sit
Mhm.
and be the fly on the wall and they're watching, but they're not clicking, they're not giving you the insights you want. This is like a sneaky backdoor way to actually be looking to see like, well, what content are they actually interested in? And then you can create 5 new pieces of content based off of that blog post, or 10 pieces of Instagram content based off of that blog post that's getting way more traffic. So, in the market research that you're doing with your audience, the analytics and having Google Analytics set up is going to allow you to get this information without having to ask anyone to tell you.
Yeah.
So, absolutely love that. That's amazing. I'm like,
Yeah.
why am I not doing that? And then, to the other point of, yeah, putting marketing material for that relevant thing on content that's getting a lot of traffic. Like that's amazing. With my podcast, I have the ability to go in and, put ads into podcast episodes, to be able to like target, oh, everyone's downloading this and we're doing a master class. So let's go plug this little ad for the master class sign up into this podcast because everyone's listening to it. That's kind of the same thing as what you're talking about, is leveraging the high traffic content to promote the thing that is relevant right now for you and your business that you want to drive traffic to. We always want evergreen traffic to things, but like there are things when you're doing, particular, for those of you that are selling products in the wellness space, maybe the first of the year you have a special like New Year's weight loss thing coming up, or, I don't know, holiday time, you have something special, like maybe there's a holiday blog or something that's getting a lot of traffic and you're like, oh, I'm going to put this
Mhm.
information there. So
Totally.
yeah, I love these kind of sneaky ways to get information from people. So this is incredible. I cannot wait for the Access the Experts training because now I want to get in. Like, I want to know. And don't feel like you're too far behind. Again, go set up your Google Analytics right now. When GA4 came into play, everyone lost, right? This is correct. Everyone lost their old data. Everyone had to go kind of reset it up and kind of start collecting their data from that point, which happened, was it mid 2023?
July 1st, as of July
Yeah, so
1st
it was,
last year.
yeah, mid
Yeah.
2023. So not, everyone kind of had to start over. So you're not too far behind. And again, you'll just start collecting data from this point moving forward. And whether you decide to dive in at the Access the Experts training and really dive in then, or you're like, oh, I'm going to wait 3 months, you're going to be collecting that data. So when you're ready, you can get the information that you need and want to grow your business bigger, better, faster, which is what we all want. So this has been incredible. I am like selfishly super excited about this topic, but you all should be too because you're running businesses. So we're going to have you again on Access the Experts as our expert trainer for March. That's happening March 13th, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I will leave the link below in the description. I will leave it in the show notes, or you can go to kntcreative.com/access the experts. And you can sign up for Ange's training there on Google Analytics. She's going to show behind the scenes, you guys. She's going to give you the good. So if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, but how do I do it? You're going to get the how in this training. So come join us and we'll have some amazing things for you. Anything else that you would like to share before we jump off of here, or tell them, how they can find you to connect with you more?
Absolutely. So I am at the Ops Builder on LinkedIn mainly, Instagram, Facebook, webpage. Yeah, I work with more operational skills, but I say like at the end of the day, how you know you're growing is numbers, right? It's not just a revenue number that you're looking at. It's not just like your leads or your email lists. Like numbers tell you how your business is doing. If it's a conversion rate thing, if it's monetary, if it's like what's happening. So don't be afraid of numbers. That I think that's my biggest takeaway is like, yes, it's kind of scary to learn, but then once you understand like kind of what you need to, which we can simplify like very, very well, like use it as the strategy. Like, what can I do to get this page to convert more? Like, okay,
Mhm.
can we change the graphic? Can we change the copy? Like, then you go back into your creative state and what can I do to make that number go up?
Yeah.
Right. So I think they feed back and forth of like, if you love the creative juices, then use the numbers as like a competition or like a way to drive that creative state. Like,
Mm.
okay, I think I have everything set, but now what is my audience resonating with? What are they reading? What are they looking at? How long are they spending there? Can I get them more intrigued? And then it like drives that creative juices to create more, tweak things a little, and then just watch the numbers and they'll tell
Mhm.
you. And like Chrissy says, like lurkers are gonna lurk. Let them lurk, but you can secretly see exactly what they're doing. So it's not so
Yeah.
secret.
I love this tip. I love this tip. I'm definitely going to be applying some of these moving forward. And if you're anything like me, I've definitely been in positions where I have avoided the numbers because I was scared of what they were telling me. Scared that I wasn't getting the traffic, scared that I wasn't getting the sale, or scared that we were losing people or whatnot. But that is the absolute worst thing that you can do for your business is like hide from your numbers. Okay. So I've been there. So this doesn't make us bad people. This is not a judgment on our character. Like this is a learning process and we want to look at the numbers because like you said, the numbers don't lie and they can show us very quickly how to turn things around.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited for this topic. I hope that you all come to Access the Experts. Again, I will drop the link below or go to kncreative.com, access the experts, and Ange will be taking us through this step by step. She'll be holding our hand the entire way. So thank you, Ange, for coming, talking about this topic, and I can't wait to see you very soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you got some value out of this episode, I would love some support. And the best way to do that, so I can keep showering you with loads of actionable tips, is to hit that subscribe button. Leave a review or a comment if you're on YouTube, and share this podcast with a friend. And when you share it with a friend on social, please tag me so I can reshare your share in my stories. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out. I appreciate the heck out of you for showing up. And now it's time for you to take imperfect action so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more.